Jesus, as the living word of God, enables us to identify that we are a spirit, soul, body being that should be whole. So in a sense, my process, I heard Ian Clayton talk about that and do a session on it, and I just couldn't relate to the session because it was very, very aggressive. So I just put it on the back burner and thought, I'm not really sure about that. But then God took me through my own version of the process, which was much more about identifying the soul's independence and surrendering the independence so I would be able to trust God with my soul as I did in my spirit. So it was, the separation was really only cutting the umbilical cord that the soul had to the spirit from the outside in. So the spirit could reintegrate or reestablish the connection from the inside out, because that's where it was always intended to be. We weren't supposed to get our identity or our understanding from the world around us and filter that through our experiences in our soul. We were actually supposed to interpret everything through the spirit. So in a sense, it's a process of actually just reintegrating us into oneness and dealing with any independence. So I surrendered independence. So that for me was the issue. You know, it was never a sort of I am going to separate my own soul and spirit, because that would only reinforce my soul's will to do it, which would have never worked. So I surrendered to allow Jesus to bring me into wholeness. And I stopped trying to do it independently or get my identity independently. And therefore I learned to trust. That was what the process was for me. It was coming to a point of, hey, I'm surrendering my need to understand this or figure it all out or work it all out with my own reasoning. And I'm just going to trust you, whether I understand or not, because I trust you because you're my dad and you love me. So when I came to that point, then everything changed, because no longer was my soul needing to be involved in the process in a cognitive way of understanding. I learned to trust. So my spirit remained in the realms of heaven after that point. My soul, connected to my spirit, learned to trust and allow my spirit to function without the need to understand everything or know everything I was doing. Now I'm functioning 7 or 8 different realms in the realms of heaven. My soul would never be able to keep up. If I had to try and figure out everything I was doing all the time and know what it was, because I didn't trust. Now I trust, then everything then that is going on spiritually, my soul receives and it flows through me. And so I see the world from a different perspective. So it was never the, I'm going to take a sword and hack my soul to pieces type of thing. It was, I'm just getting to the point where I need to surrender and stop trying to do this independently. And that really was what the process was. No, it was a 4-month dark experience for me, because it took me that long for my soul to give up. Because my soul, I'm wired by God to understand, figure things out. So I had to surrender the way he made me to be, to embrace me not doing that, in creating my own identity through that. Then everything changed. So it's very much an integrated process. And I would not encourage anyone to beat their soul up or to try and be aggressive towards their soul, because our soul can be damaged by ourselves. And if we treat it as a second-class citizen, then we'll never be whole, spirit, soul, and body, each of them carrying the same value. Because there's no difference between Father, Son, and Spirit in value. They may be different in function, but in value, they're equally God and equally valuable within that relationship. And when we then begin to come into that identity, we'll realize that our spirit, soul, and body are created to be equally valuable. And I think part of the problem is people have put less value on the body because they see, well, we won't have a body in eternity. And that's a fallacy, because yes, we will. Jesus had a body that could be touched, yet after he was resurrected, and an immortal body won't need to die. It may sort of adapt, but it doesn't need to die. And I think a lot of things that have separated us and put value on certain things above certain other things, then they create an imbalance within us, and that means we find it difficult to be one and whole.